You know that feeling when a new AI model drops?
Mm.
Beat, like Claude Opus 5 just did.
Oh, yeah. The timeline just completely explodes.
Right. Instantly, your feed floods with benchmarks. You start bookmarking 10 tutorials a day,
Mm-hmm.
and you know full well you'll never actually read them. It's a completely exhausting cycle.
It really is. I mean, the internet hands you this massive mountain of gold, but without a shovel, you end up buried under it.
You're drowning in resources,
Mm.
stuff you save for later.
Exactly. And, later never really comes.
The problem isn't a lack of information. You just don't have a reliable filter.
Yeah, you need something that tells you what to learn, but honestly, more importantly, you need something that tells you what to skip.
Welcome to the deep dive. We're so glad you're here with us today.
It's going to be a fun one.
Our mission today is highly specific. We are unpacking a repeatable, four-step learning system, a system designed to completely cure that tutorial fatigue.
We're going to explore this surprisingly powerful combination of tools. We'll be stitching together Gemini Notebook, Claude Opus 5, a custom HTML checklist, the Pomodoro technique, and Notion.
To ground this in reality, we're using AI coding as our running example today.
Right. We'll map out how to build a desktop productivity app from scratch.
We want to show you how to conquer complex new skills without losing your mind in the process.
That's the goal.
Okay, let's unpack this. Before you can let an AI adapt to your specific learning style, you kind of need a baseline.
Yeah, you have to establish a foundational blueprint first.
But what is the actual difference here between a traditional study plan and a learning system?
That is a crucial distinction to make. So a normal study plan just dictates what to learn. It's rigid. It operates like a train track,
Right.
But a true learning system dynamically adjusts to where you actually are. It operates like a GPS, routing you around traffic and roadblocks.
It reacts to your failures and your successes.
Precisely. And a robust learning system has 4 distinct parts: research, personalization, action, and memory.
Let's start with that first part, research.
Yep.
You obviously need a reliable path before you can personalize anything. You have to gather your core materials.
So for our running example today, let's assume you want to learn AI coding.
Like vibe coding,
Yeah, exactly.
which basically means guiding an AI to write software using plain natural language.
Right, and you also want to learn agentic engineering.
Right, which means building AI systems that take independent actions without your help.
Perfect definitions. So to learn those specific skills, our target project is building a desktop focus app. It needs to track user activity, save data locally, and proactively suggest ways to improve your focus.
So step 1 is opening up Gemini Notebook.
Yep. You create a fresh workspace in there, and you prompt it to scrape the web for practical guides.
When I'm setting this up in Gemini, should I be using the deep research mode or keeping it fast?
You definitely want to keep the fast research option selected.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Well, you don't want it getting bogged down in these dense academic papers. You just want practical guides on specific tools, things like Claude Code, Codex, and Cursor.
Right, the actual tools.
And you also want to pull in common mistakes developers make. That's super important.
I'm assuming we're asking Gemini for a highly structured output here.
Yes. You command it to output a simple 4-week base plan.
Okay.
It needs a main goal for each week: specific topics, practical tasks, and very clear results.
You want the lessons to follow a logical order. Each week must help you complete a real part of the project.
It's basically about establishing the perimeter. You have to keep it simple enough for a beginner to follow,
Yeah.
but focused entirely on the app itself.
It's like gathering the raw clay before you start sculpting. You're giving the AI a bounding box.
Exactly.
By making the final goal hyper-specific, you're forcing the AI to build a walled garden of resources.
Yeah, you keep all that generic hello world noise out.
But, I have a question about that. How do we prevent Gemini from just pulling in generic beginner junk that doesn't fit the project?
By tying the research strictly to a concrete goal like building that specific desktop focus app, so the AI filters out irrelevant tutorials automatically.
So attaching a hyper-specific project goal acts as your ultimate spam filter.
It really does. It saves you hours of reading useless documentation. Gemini Notebook will only suggest sources that push your specific app forward.
You add only the materials that survive that filter.
Yeah.
Because this initial study plan is entirely based on those curated sources.
But remember, this is just your raw material. It gives you a clear direction, sure, but it is far from finished.
Right. It doesn't reflect your actual experience yet.
Not at all.
Which brings us to step 2. Personalization.
Yeah.
Beat. Gemini, he has pulled the raw material, it built our walled garden.
Yep.
But having a massive stack of relevant articles is still pretty overwhelming. How do we keep this hyper-focused so I'm not relearning things I already know?
That is exactly where Claude Opus 5 comes in. A generic 4-week plan from Gemini will still waste your time.
Because it doesn't know you.
Right. It doesn't know anything about your background.
So we just take the study plan from Gemini Notebook and paste it straight into a new Claude chat.
Yes, but you have to feed Claude your highly specific context.
Like what?
You tell it your current programming skill level, and you tell it exactly how many hours you can actually dedicate each week.
And we also give it the philosophical reason for the app, right?
Yes, exactly.
Let's say you want ADHD-friendly features. You want things like AFK detection, break reminders, and distraction alerts.
Giving Opus 5 that underlying reason is vital. It allows the AI to prioritize those exact features in your syllabus. You also tell it about products you already use.
Then you command Claude to ruthlessly strip out any beginner lessons you already know.
Exactly. You don't want to fall into that beginner's trap of rereading Chapter 1 over and over again.
Oh, I've been there.
We all have. So you ask Opus 5 to rebuild the entire plan around the actual friction points.
Because we want the syllabus built around the difficult parts of the project. The things that will actually make us want to quit.
Right. For a modern desktop app, that means grappling with Tori v2 permissions. It means working with Rust. It means figuring out activity tracking and signed app builds.
Just to pause on that for a second, Tori permissions are notoriously finicky for local storage, right?
Oh, they are a nightmare.
Which makes it a perfect stress test for Claude's problem-solving capabilities.
It's the ultimate stress test. Tori is a framework for building desktop apps, but it locks down file system access for security.
Right.
Navigating those strict permissions using Rust is incredibly frustrating for beginners. So by telling Claude to focus there, you're front-loading the hardest technical hurdles.
If the plan is missing an important topic, you just ask Claude to add it. You also ask it to explain why you need that new concept.
This creates a crucial shift in your mindset. We have to completely change the metric of success here.
How so?
Well, progress isn't just about how many tutorials you've finished anymore.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Progress is having a clear, testable artifact at the end of each stage.
Yes. You need a result you can build, test, or show to someone else.
Because the illusion of competence is so dangerous. Reading code makes you feel smart. Writing code proves what you actually know.
Exactly.
It's just so empowering to have an AI proactively tell you what not to study. Beat. We all have such strict time constraints. But I'm wondering, why use Claude Opus 5 for this step, instead of just staying inside Gemini Notebook?
Because Opus 5 excels at nuanced reasoning and adapting the curriculum's difficulty based on your highly personal blind spots and background.
Opus 5 brings a deep reasoning needed to custom fit the syllabus to your brain.
It really does. It completely removes the friction of trying to guess what you should learn next. It gives you a roadmap that actually respects your time. Mid-roll sponsor read placement.
Okay, let's step back and look at where we are. We have a perfect personalized curriculum sitting in a chat window. Beat. But realistically, that's still useless if you get overwhelmed just looking at it.
That is the biggest trap in self-education. A great plan on a screen doesn't equal action.
Right.
This brings us to step 3. We have to turn your learning system into daily execution.
We need to make this wildly actionable. So you ask Claude Opus 5 to turn the study plan into an interactive HTML checklist.
Right. You ask it to write the code for a single standalone HTML file.
Just one file.
Yeah. And this file should break down each week into highly specific, manageable tasks.
It needs working checkboxes. It needs visual progress bars for each week. It needs a space for short notes.
And here's a really important technical detail. You ask Claude to include local browser storage in that HTML code.
So it saves your state automatically.
Exactly.
Your check tasks remain even after you close the tab. You don't need a database or a complex backend.
Nope. The browser just remembers your progress locally.
Whoa! Imagine generating your own custom-coded app just to manage your learning of another custom-coded app. That's incredibly meta.
It is completely meta. You're using AI to build a bespoke tool that helps you learn AI coding. It's brilliant.
You just save the code as an HTML file, double-click it, and it opens right in your browser.
Your checklist now gives you one pristine place to look. You see exactly what you've completed, and you see exactly what comes next.
But eventually, you will inevitably hit a wall.
Of course.
Your code won't compile. The permissions will fail. When you hit a roadblock, you do not go Google a new tutorial somewhere else.
You return to that exact same Claude chat. You paste the specific task that is confusing you.
Yep. You ask Claude for step-by-step help,
Yeah.
exact file setups,
Yeah.
specific testing methods.
You tell it to use your current project as context. Beaten. You tell it not to move to the next task until this one actually works. I have to admit, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself.
Oh, yeah.
If I don't have a rigid checklist in front of me, I end up completely off topic after 20 minutes.
Right. The distraction is so real. We all do it. That's why you have to track the work using Pomodoro sessions. You choose exactly one checklist task before you start a timer. A focused session works much better when you know the desired result. Beat. At the end of each session, you log your progress.
You'll want to log the task, your focus time, and exactly what you achieved. Most importantly, write down the exact problem you need to solve next.
This work log is absolutely essential. It cures that awful amnesia we get when we take a break.
Oh, man, yeah.
You know exactly where to pick up tomorrow.
It stops you from wasting the first 20 minutes of every session just trying to remember where you left off.
But I have to ask a skeptical question here. How does relying on Claude for step-by-step help not just become a crutch where you aren't actually learning the code?
Because you are specifically commanding Claude to check if your result is enough to move forward, and to tell you exactly what to fix before giving you the next task. It acts as a gatekeeper, not a ghostwriter.
It forces active learning by refusing to move on until your code actually works.
Precisely. You paste your code and say, check whether this result passes the test.
Right.
If you messed up the Tory permissions, Claude won't give you the next step. It makes you fix the current one.
It keeps the support completely connected to your real progress.
Yeah.
It doesn't just hand you another general tutorial to read.
So now you have an interactive checklist. You have a record of each Pomodoro session, but you need one central place to keep all this information together.
Because you're executing the daily work.
Yeah.
But over weeks of study, the details start to blur.
They really do.
Without a centralized memory of your blockers and successes, you're going to lose the thread.
The mental clutter just builds up, which brings us to the final component of the system, memory.
Step 4.
Yep. Step 4 is where we complete the learning ecosystem.
We're going to use Notion for this. You need to create a central learning hub dashboard. But you don't build this entire setup manually, right?
Nope. You use Notion AI to generate the dashboard for you.
Okay.
You prompt it to create a space that houses your study plan and your task checklist.
You also ask it to create a dedicated learning log database and a weekly review section.
That learning log database needs very specific properties to be effective.
What kind of properties?
It needs the task name, the current stage, and the study date.
It also needs your focus time, the status, and the concrete result. Beat. And crucially, it needs your main blocker and your next action.
Notion AI builds this exact layout for you. You keep it brutally simple. It needs to be easy to update after every single Pomodoro session.
Then you go back to Opus 5, you copy that full personalized study plan, and you paste that entire plan into Notion AI.
You ask Notion AI to parse that plan and turn every single stage into clear tasks. But here's the catch.
Okay.
Each task must include an expected artifact and a strict pass condition.
Like the app must successfully save a text file locally. If it doesn't do that, it fails the condition.
Right. You command Notion AI to keep the original order. You tell it not to add any new lessons.
So this turns the plan into a rigorous, test-driven checklist inside Notion.
Exactly. And after every Pomodoro session, you add a quick entry to your learning log.
You record your focus time and the result.
You record your main blocker. You record your next action. You can even attach screenshots of your app as evidence for the pass condition.
This creates this beautiful, objective, historical record of your learning. And then comes my favorite part.
The review.
At the end of the week, you do a review.
Yes. But you ask Notion AI to do the heavy lifting for you. You highlight your week's logs and ask Notion AI to audit your learning system.
You ask it to summarize the tasks you completed. You ask it to analyze the blockers that slowed you down.
And you ask it to pinpoint your single most important task for Monday. It is incredibly effective.
By forcing the AI to audit your Pomodoro logs, you completely remove the human ego from the equation.
Oh, entirely.
It objectively looks at where you wasted time. It stops you from lying to yourself about your actual progress.
It's profoundly confronting, but in the best way possible. It forces you to be brutally honest with yourself.
It's brilliant. Using Notion AI to perform a weekly review on yourself is so elegant. Beat. It's almost like having a ruthless human manager auditing your progress.
Kind of, yeah.
But what happens during the weekly review? If an artifact just totally fails its pass condition?
You do not advance. You stay on that stage and use your Pomodoro logs to figure out the missing piece before you're allowed to touch the next week's material.
You halt progress, fix the missing link, and never advance on a broken foundation.
Exactly. When a task doesn't pass, you continue working on it. You do not move to week 3 just because it's Monday.
Because finishing 50 tutorials means absolutely nothing if the code won't compile. Beat. Progress is only visible when a stage produces a real artifact that passes its test.
This entire process helps you learn with so much less confusion. It stops that dopamine loop of constantly jumping to the next shiny tutorial.
So let's pull all the way back. What does this all mean for us? Let's recap the big idea here. Beat. Information overload is clearly not fixed by having better bookmarks.
Hoarding thousands of articles will never make you a better programmer. The only real fix is building a personal ecosystem.
Right. You start with research. You use Gemini to build a walled garden of reliable sources.
Then you move to personalization. You use Claude Opus 5 to mold that curriculum to your exact skill level and constraints.
Then comes the action phase. You use an interactive HTML checklist and Pomodoro sessions to grind through the daily work without distraction.
Finally, memory. You use Notion AI as your objective manager. You keep your history in one place and measure success purely by working artifacts.
A clear learning system completely neutralizes tutorial fatigue, gives you a practical, structured way to absorb complex new information without losing your mind.
And the most exciting part is that this underlying architecture is entirely reusable. You can apply it to almost any new skill you want to learn. You're just changing the inputs.
We applied this framework to AI coding today. We looked at vibe coding and agentic engineering. But imagine applying this exact framework to learning a new spoken language.
Or mastering a physical craft, like woodworking.
Yeah.
Or studying deep history. The structure remains exactly the same.
If an AI can perfectly calibrate a syllabus for complex software engineering, think about the broader implications. 2-sec silence. How might this system fundamentally change the way you tackle the next daunting skill you've been putting off for years?
It really is a paradigm shift in how we approach our own education.
It truly is. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep building, keep testing, and we'll catch you on the next one. Out to yo music.